Hey there, Oregonians. I'm Kirby Erner, and I work with the Oregon Curriculum Network, which is my own thing, right? I created it and fund it myself, so it's not state supported. I'm not using any tax dollars of anybody's except mine, and I've been working at this for a number of years. So there's a lot of information here. A lot of us do this. I'm not saying I'm unique in creating a curriculum website. In fact, in the early days of the web, which is something I'd looked forward to for a long time, my first order of business was to go around looking for other websites that were similarly oriented. It was amazing how few polyhedrons we had at first. I was one of the first people to be uploading tons of polyhedrons to the web. Anyway, here we've got a lot of Python resources, and I'll just take a recent one. This links to a Jupyter notebook. So when I got started on that website in the 90s, there was no such thing as Jupyter notebooks, let alone GitHub. So I have kept up a little bit with the emerging technology. Of course, I can't be on all fronts, and I'm not a great animator. The great weakness on my side is I'm not Walt Disney, basically. It's like if I could have done the IMAX movies in Jersey City in the theater there, that's what I wanted to do, right? But the Jehovah's Witnesses beat me to it. I hope they're getting good value. That was a giant theater that was up for sale, was abandoned, and my idea was you'd come over on the PATH train from NYU or whatever, and these would be like curriculum movies. You could swipe a card to prove you'd seen it or something. I don't know. Why just assign readings? Why not assign films? Now, in the YouTube days, homework would be watch this, that, or the other YouTube. Now, can we actually measure when someone sees it or not? Well, these are logistics. I'm just saying multimedia is the way to go. When I actually do get a classroom, I'm all about hands-on stuff. This was um, this last summer, 2018, we did some work with C60 there in that picture. We do quad rays a little bit, not a lot. These aren't very sophisticated mathematicians that I'm working with or anything. I'm working with kids in that case. But I do like working with older folks. Pedagogy, andragogy, I'm into both of those. And when it comes to working with older folks, I would like to just help them create better curriculum for themselves. So in other words, kids are interested in their future. What could it be like? So we go back over positive science fiction of the past because we assume they want a positive future, even if that's not what they're going to get. The emphasis would be accentuate the positive. And so what's the promising stuff from the past? What did people hope would happen and maybe didn't happen, like the Jetsons and so on? And of all those science fiction visions, which ones got closest to reality, like actual artifacts, prototypes were produced? And I think the obvious answer is the Bucky Fuller stuff. That was the most likely to become real in many people's minds, and therefore, in a way, the biggest threat to the status quo. Other people who had other visions of what was to come real are the most threatened by something that's already up to prototypes. This idea that we have to start over and we can't just pick up here on this yurt idea where the ceiling is the roof suspends the house. It hangs down because of a central pillar. It looks like, you can attack this design for not being wheelchair accessible. Not that we couldn't have an elevator of some kind or a ramp, but it doesn't have to be high off the ground like that. That's just one example of this house. You could choose the height probably. Like in an advanced model, you could lower it down, really, the whole house. I don't know. Like there's a lot of good engineering here already ready to be built on incrementally. So the idea of this is from the you can go see this house at the Henry Ford Museum in Dearborn, Michigan anytime. I went there with my daughter some years ago. It's a great exhibit. And in their video, they kind of blame the bankers for why we don't have good housing, why we have such unimaginative architects. Why are our architects all slaves to rich people and only care about rich people? That was Bucky's question, too. lots of deep questions, and to say that we still need to start over is what this implies. A, it's the banker's fault, and B, we need to start over. I don't think so. I think we could press on and help the kids see how these things link together. I would jump from, I'd probably not start with the whole number volumes, the volumes 1, 3, and so forth. Um, Jitterbug, sure, we could bring that in early, but we wouldn't start from this platonic stuff. We'd start with more like global energy grid insofar as it currently exists, right? It's not about, this may be the spread of peoples here, I'm not sure. Fuller had a kind of a satirical view that we were all becoming, like when you ask him about evolution, he'd say, no, that's not what's happening. We are Devo. He didn't say that, but he did sort of imply that we were becoming more and more ape-like, the more we slugged it out in the wrestling ring. Boxers, he had the idea of boxers who get dumber and dumber the more they fight each other, right? He was kind of down on boxing. You could tell, and he thought that was a good metaphor for all of us. So we're all becoming monkey brains, is what he was thinking, which is just, being insulting. He was very insulting between the lines, telling us that, we were cowards and stuff, but that's just him, right? We can't, he was short and stocky and kind of loud and had opinions. So, worth studying, though, as a great American. I would not discourage anyone from going that route. In fact, that's the route I'm choosing. Let's put the Bucky in the public schools, or don't call it public school. One or the other. Take your pick. All right, talk to you later.